Hi, I'm Dr. Ishan Capoor, a practicing pulmonologist at Narayana Health, Bangalore. I have recently published my debut poetry book titled Inhale Exhale from the Quarters of Quarantine based on my pandemic experiences as a frontliner. And this is my journey so far. I remember back in school, sometime during the ninth standard, that I wanted to pursue medicine. So I wanted to help others and make a difference in the lives of people. And I felt that medicine as a career option, becoming a doctor, would provide me that opportunity. And in due course of time, I decided to become a pulmonologist. I remember back in 2020 when the pandemic hit us, and the lives of people changed drastically, but for us frontline workers, our lives changed beyond recognition. And the one word that I used to describe these times would be uncertainty, and we had to deal with uncertainty day in, day out, professionally and personally as well. So there were quite a few inspirational stories that stood out for me during my COVID-19 pandemic duty period. So there's a national level Paralympic athlete who was under my care and who recovered from COVID-19. And his story really stood out because he's a champion on the field and off the field too. And in fact, he recently texted me saying that he has won a silver medal in a discus throw national level event. So what stood out for me was the fact that I was a small link in a very important chain, and this patient who recovered is going to help others and help them pursue their dreams of becoming a champion. On the flip side, during that period, we realized that the healthcare infrastructure was overwhelmed. I would get frantic calls from different parts of the country asking with regards to availability of beds in the hospital, with regards to availability of oxygen. And at times I felt quite helpless, and our hands were tied as well, because that just again provided us with a lot of perspective that we could only help to a certain degree, and we were, but we were still able to do what we could with best of our abilities. And that was a bit challenging because we really wanted to help, but our resources were limited. Having said that, the human spirit did prevail during these uncertain times. This reminds me of a quote from one of my favorite movies, Awakenings. The human spirit is more powerful than any other drug, and that is what needs to be nourished. My poetry book was born out of my pandemic experiences. So whatever I was going through at that given point of time as a doctor, my vulnerabilities, the challenges that I faced, I decided to pen it down. So writing poetry was an organic process, and I still vividly remember the first poem that I wrote. I woke up in the middle of the night to complete the poem, and I thought this would be a one-off poem, but I ended up surprising myself. And I titled it Dancers in the Dark. Dancers in the dark. When doubt knocks on your door, hoping to get an embrace, you open your arms and let it rent some space. When fear decides to creep within, you dance in the dark or look within. When depression says long time no see, you invite it over for a cup of tea. When anxiety wants to catch up for a beer, do you binge or stay clear? When the dancers in the dark ask for one last dance, you shake a leg and give them that chance. As you shift the gaze and look within, the dancers in the dark stop mid-spin. Consistency was the key for me during the entire writing process. I decided to write quite a few short poems because I wanted to convey the sentiment in the most concise manner possible. And I spoke to my illustrator Samantha King with regards to the illustrations in the book, because we had these long chats regarding how I wanted the illustrations to look, because I wanted them to go hand in hand with the poems. And that is how Inhale Exhale from the Quarters of Quarantine materialized. Inhale, Exhale from the Quarters of Quarantine has poems centered around the theme of hope, healing, and the human spirit. I truly believe that doctors have not only the power to cure, but they also have the power to heal. And once a doctor enters the realm of healing, it can not only transform the lives of the patients, but it can also transform the lives of doctors. For instance, a patient who has terminal cancer, there's no definite cure for the patient's condition, but you can help the patient and the patient's relatives accept the newfound reality, and that's when the healing process starts. Speaking of healing, I would like to recite a poem that is very close to my heart, titled Hands That Heal. If the hands that heal could talk, what would they say? Would they tell you about how they embraced a son who lost his dad? How they tightened their grasp on a patient's fingers when hope decided to go for a walk and never return? How they put an arm across the shoulder, the action whispering, everything will be alright. The hands have formed calluses, holding you so tight, sheltering you from doubt. They do get tired, but they never let it show as they watch you bargaining with God. The hands have learned to listen with time. They may not always be able to cure, but they can always heal. You can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook. My book, Inhale, Exhale from the Quarters of Quarantine, is available at the Bookworm Bookstore on Church Street, and it's also available online on Amazon as paperback/Kindle edition, and on Flipkart, Notion Press, and also a few other platforms.